Minnesota Fighting Vikings could use some safety depth as well as a potential contingency plan if and when Anthony Harris leaves in free agency. Enter one Will Parks, former Philadelphia Eagle, former Denver Bronco, former Gary Kubiak guy in the Mile High City. Will it finally happen? Because the Vikings, low-key, have been thirsting for Will Parks for a while. So Tom Pelissero reporting Eagles tried to trade Will Parks before the deadline, but found no takers. Now he heads to waivers. Now the Vikings were fully in at the trade deadline on Will Parks, but Howie Roseman and Rick Spielman couldn't get it done. Maybe Spielman's holding out for a little bit of revenge from the Bradford trade. But Gessling reported this on November 3rd. Before the trade deadline, the Vikings had preliminary discussions with the Eagles about a deal for safety Will Parks, the source said. Vikings also had shown interest in Parks during free agency, worth keeping his name in mind as he hits the market again after this year. So that's when the Vikings were going through the George Aloka, Metellus, this, that, and the other thing. And the Vikings are pretty much still in the same situation, just looking for that third safety. And the Vikings, like I said, even had interest in Parks back in free agency. So Doogie and Mike Kliss tweeted this out in March. And also, the Vikings even offered more. But the Eagles secondary is garbage. Also, Parks is from the Philadelphia area, so it sort of made sense. So you understood why he took a little bit less to go home, had more opportunity there. You saw here, the Vikings had franchise tag Anthony Harris. We're probably going to hang on to him, as well as Harrison friggin' Smith is Harrison Smith. But now he's going to hit waivers, and maybe it will finally happen. Maybe it'll finally happen, damn it. So let's talk about Will Parks today. Background, 26 years young, 6'1", 208, former 6th-round pick in 2016 out of Arizona. So 2016 was the final year of Gary Kubiak. They had just won the Super Bowl, and then they inked up two safeties in the draft. They took Justin Simmons in the third, who's a stud. And then they double dipped with Parks in the 6th, coming out of Arizona. He a Wildcat. What up? And then coming out, he was not exactly a twitched-up athlete, but a solid tackler as a strong safety, and was a rotational and situational player for the Broncos for 4 seasons, and worked his way up final 2 years with Vic Fangio as kind of that J-Ron Curse type role, the third safety, the big nickel, working in coverage as a free safety at times, but primarily a box safety, as well as working in the slot against tight ends and running backs, etc. So, I mean, he was labeled a jack of all trades, and he sort of makes sense. In today's modern passing game, where sub-package is the new base defense, you do need guys like Will Parks, who's going to play that role, play some special teams, and do everything. But like we said, I signed a 1-year, $1.6 million deal with the Eagles, who were a mess, as well as, of course, that's his hometown. So it made sense why he spurned the Vikings at that stage. And then the Vikings were jonesing. They're trying to get a little piece of him at the trade deadline. Couldn't get anything going. It's whatever. But Parks began the year on IR, then has played 6 games this season, 114 total snaps, 9 tackles, 51.7 PFF grade, as well as allowed 4 catches for 50 yards and 0 touchdowns on 7 targets in coverage, 79.5 quarterback rating when thrown at yada, yada, yada. So waivers follows the current draft order. So the Vikings will be 14th in terms of dibs on Will Parks. Money-wise, Vikings, if they did claim him, will be on the hook for the proration of his $1 million base salary. So the remaining 5 games would be $312,500. It's marginally whatever against the salary cap. So I think that it does make a lot of sense. Obviously, the Vikings were in free agency and also had some interest at the trade deadline. And also, he would be an upgrade just walking on the field over Metellus, over Curtis Riley, who they're obviously not comfortable with behind 22 and 41. And also, they've been lacking that third safety, that J-Ron Curse type role that J-Ron played extremely well the last 2 years. And also, the Vikings wanted him. Kubiak knows him. He's vouched for him as well. So I think that it would make a lot of sense. So having Parks in the building, playing that J-Ron role, where he actually kind of reminds me of Sendejo, just at first blush, where a little bit less hard hitting for sure, but then again, who hits as hard as Andrew Sendejo, but also slightly better in coverage, a little bit better in positional flexibility. So I think it makes a ton of sense. Bottom of the roster, get a guy that you're comfortable with, get a guy that you've been thirsting for a while. So make it happen. So we'll watch what happens with his waiver claims over the next couple days. So hopefully Will Parks, Vikings one time. Guess we'll see. But your thoughts. The Vikings should put a waiver claim in on Will Parks. Let us know in the comment section below. Subscribe for daily Vikings takes. Want to support that work? Post on the Venmo. But until next time, Skull Production Value.